Hello, everyone. It is New Year's Eve 2024, and it's time for some year in review. Gonna start with movies. I have made a list of movies that I saw in 2024, or I should say, no, not saw in 2024, a list of movies that were made in 2024 that I saw this year. Because I've seen lots of movies, a lot of them were older, so these are the movies that are from 2024 that I have seen in 2024, and they number 12. So I'm going to rank them from least satisfying to most satisfying. And this is really not going to be an assessment of objective quality as much as it is how did these movies land with me or not. So, at the bottom of the list at number 12, and this may be a little bit controversial because this movie was a big hit with critics, and it would normally have been the kind of thing that I would love. Janet Planet. My issue with this movie was simply that I never felt like it was going anywhere. The characters were moving but not actually making any kind of journey. And that may have been part of the point. The stillness, the stagnation may have been what the director was going for. But I just found it really disappointing and hard to connect with. So, number 11, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes and Janet Planet, I have designated my biggest disappointments because I went in thinking I was going to love these movies. Now, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes I did enjoy, but I will suffice to say that the powers that be behind this new series of Planet of the Apes, they continue to refuse to give us a heroine. They continue to refuse to give us a Zira counterpart. Also, the absence of Andy Serkis from the project was felt. I did like Noah, the new lead. I did like this movie. It just wasn't quite what I'd hoped for based on the previews, posters, etc. At number 10, let's see if I can read my list properly here. Abigail, a horror film about a vampire with the appearance of a 12-year-old girl. And it was lots of gory fun. Don't have too much bad to say about the movie except that it was what it was. And so it didn't necessarily have a lot of substance to it. It was just a fascinating, gory, action filled horror film. And I've always loved the way that President Lincoln put it when he was asked to give a review of some book or play. I don't remember what it was, but he said, people who like this sort of thing will find this the sort of thing they like. And that can definitely be said of Abigail. Number 9, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. It is not the classic that the first film was, but I did like the new character of Astrid, Lydia's daughter. I was rooting for her. I did like Lydia, still the grown up Lydia, liked Winona Ryder coming back. I liked seeing Delia again. My problem with the movie, and I've heard other critics say this as well, is that it was a little bit overstuffed. Maybe if they plucked out a few of the subplot threads, it might have been a more interesting movie on the whole. Then at number 8, Deadpool and Wolverine. Loads of fun again, a little bit more of a solid movie than Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. In again, those who like this sort of thing will find this the sort of thing they like. And I did really like it, although some of the reasons that I liked it were not apparent in trailers because they had to keep them they had to keep them in the spoiler category. But just gotta say, Dogpool rocks. She is amazing. She's a wonderful cuddle bug, and I hope she and Deadpool will be very happy together. Coming in at number 7, one of my pleasant surprises of the year because I wasn't really expecting as much from this as I got. My Old Ass. We didn't see this 2024 release in the theaters. We watched it at home, like we watched Janet Planet. But this movie was a surprisingly thoughtful coming of age story where a girl on the brink of womanhood somehow manages to communicate with her 30 something self. And it was it was funny, it was engaging, and there was a surprising amount of depth to some of it. A meditation on if we knew what was going to happen in the future, what would we do differently? Would we do anything differently? Sort of like a more relaxed, non sci fi version of Denis Villeneuve's Arrival, where Amy Adams' character has to confront that question. If you knew what was going to happen, if you knew that this was going to be the outcome, would you do it anyway? Coming in at number 6, Inside Out 2. I don't think this movie deserves to win Best Animated Feature at the Oscars this year. I hope very strongly that this movie does not win Best Animated Feature at the Oscars this year. But in terms of sequels, it is a surprisingly satisfying follow up to the first film. And we waited until it came to Disney Plus to watch this one. A part of me, having seen it, wishes that I'd seen it in the theater, but it is a really good watch if you liked the first film. I've even had some people say they like it better than the first film. I'm not entirely sure about that, but it is a good film. I would give it 3.5 stars. After this is another one of my pleasant surprises, a movie, the kind of movie that tends to fly under the radar. A British costume drama, or I should say a British costume dramedy, because it was marketed as a comedy, although it does have some significant dramatic beats in it. It's called Wicked Little Letters, and it features an amazing performance by one of our best actresses working today, Olivia Colman, who plays a woman who starts receiving a series of profane letters. And she is convinced that her next door neighbor has been sending her these letters. And it actually escalates into a courtroom battle. But it's a fascinating study of both these women. They are both complex characters, and you sympathize with both of them on different levels. So, really worth a watch. Underrated film. Um, find it streaming and give it a look, particularly if you are like me and you have a decided weakness for British costume dramas. Next on the list, at number 4, Dune Part 2. This one, my husband and I had to see in the theater. There is really no other way to get the full immersive grandeur of this film. It is less a sequel than a continuation of the first film, and just an amazing feast for the eyes with a compelling story and interesting characters. You can have both. You can have spectacle and substance. And it's nice to see another film series besides just Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings films that does this. So that clocks in at number 4, 3 3/4 stars, I guess I would say. At number 3, Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. My main problem with this film was that the audience wasn't there for it. The audience didn't appreciate it. They stayed away. And because it flopped, it gave what I call the anti woke brigade a lot of ammunition to say, stop putting women as the leads in action films. That's really the only bad thing that I have to say about this movie. Because as a movie, it's great. 4 stars. Next on the list is my favorite animated feature of the year so far, The Wild Robot. This is the first 4 star DreamWorks film since Chicken Run to have a female protagonist. And lots of people have said lots of things about this movie. Nearly all of them are true. It's heartfelt, complex, and a very moving story. Then finally, at number one, my personal favorite, maybe not the best film of 2024, but definitely my favorite movie of 2024. The only one that I have seen twice in the theater, Wicked. Wicked is my musical beloved. I love musicals, and I am glad we have a director like John M. Chu who knows how to make big screen movie musicals work. Just as I said a minute ago with Dune Part 2, a spectacle with substance. It's a feast for the eyes, but it also features characters that you care about and a female friendship that is developed in with complexity. Just a movie ideally suited to please me. Just put together in a workshop to be enjoyed by me. As Glenn, oh darn it, I'm blanking on his name. Pop Culture Happy Hour from NPR. I used to listen to them all the time, haven't in a while, but now I need to list some movies from 2024 that I still want to see. For animated films, there is Flow. I will be curious to see whether I end up liking it better than The Wild Robot. Another animated film that has gotten a lot of good buzz that seems very much like my kind of thing is the animated film Look Back, about a friendship between two female artists. That's about all I need to know. It's like, I'm there. Nosferatu, which my husband and I are going to see this afternoon. Ghost Light, Sing Sing, another animated film, Transformers 1 that I'd like to take in to be able to fairly evaluate the roster of animated films. Memoir of a Snail, I'd like to watch that one, even though I know it will be depressing. In terms of Oscar bait, the one that I am most interested in at this point is The Brutalist, although I know in advance that that's going to be a rough watch. So that's my 2024 movie year in review. Coming soon, a review of my reading year. Bye, folks.